Thanks for joining us here at CultFiction. We've got a fairly quick episode this week because we're going to be talking about the second season of Last of Us, which was a hugely popular Pedro Pascal vehicle that came out a couple of years ago. The second season just wrapped up fairly recently, and so we're going to go around the room here and see what everybody had to say about it. I'll go ahead and kick us off. So my take on the second season. Please be aware that there's spoilers a go about to come at you, right? So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it yet, definitely don't watch any more of this until you do. I'm actually grateful. I'm thankful, right, to the people who made the show that they went ahead and killed Joel in the second episode because that saved me hours, right? That saved me like what was it, 7 episodes or 8 episodes in the second season?
8 episodes.
Something like that.
8 episodes, yeah. So it saved me 6 hours of show watching, right? Because I would if he had died in the last episode, I would have watched to the end, and then after he died. But then now I'm saved that time. I get to do other stuff with that time, right? It's like I appreciate that. And also, if by some fucking miracle it gets picked up for a third season, unlikely, I'm saved all of that time. Like all 10 hours or 8 hours or however long the third fucking bullshit season would be. I'm saved. Like I could garden. You know what I mean? I like get up on the vacuuming, get the vacuuming done. Like,
Spoiler, he won't do any of that shit.
no, but I could, is what I'm saying. Is like I have these.
There's so much room for activity.
So many
Spends a lot of
options.
time
I
vacuuming.
could fucking
Right?
build a carburetor.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes I
know.
vacuum. Look, my point
There's
is
room for activities.
this. That's exactly right. My point is the liberty that I feel from being freed from having to watch any more of this show ever again is nice. It feels nice. Feels really, really good. So I don't know what the hell they did to Ellie. I guess they gave her testosterone. I'm not sure what happened. She turned into a horrible person in the first episode of the second season. I don't think anybody liked her. And then storyteller chick, whoever that killed Joel, I don't know what her trip was. Like after he saved her life is my favorite part, right? I guess that's irony. That's irony, right?
Yeah.
Don't need to watch it anymore. Like my question, I guess, is what is this show supposed to be about? Like if the show is about Joel and Ellie, like Joel lost his daughter, Ellie lost her family, they hooked up in the first season, and it's basically them against the world in the first season, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. That's what this story is about. These two are going to protect each other. It's like a family, new family in the apocalypse kind of story. Cool, right? You can always count on them to protect each other. And now Joel's dead. And it's like, oh, I guess that's not what the show is about. Then what the hell is your stupid show about? I don't even know. Guess what? Don't care. Other stuff to do. Eric, your turn.
Yeah. So along the same lines, like my son today, literally today, said was like, "Are we going to get back on Last of Us?" And I said, I'm not sure. I'm I just know. I feel like I know what the next episode's going to be.
Right.
I said, the next episode is she's going to come back with the body, and Joel's brother, who is like the leader of this camp that's been decimated now from this attack. She's gonna be like, "This is what happened. He got killed by this lady. Let's go kill him." And he's gonna be like,
I have to stay here and
I have to
rebuild.
stay here because I have like responsibilities. Like 40% of my town just got killed.
Right. And then Ellie's gonna be like, "You don't love your brother.
You don't even love your brother." Yeah.
Right.
Like I haven't seen the episode. I'm gonna guess that's what's gonna happen, and then she's gonna go off on her revenge tour with probably nobody but the chick that she just kissed.
Right.
And the whole time she's gonna be like, "Oh, I can't believe that his brother doesn't care about him and stuff." And it's just like, no, he lives in the real world, like a very jacked up world right now, where like he's got responsibilities. And so the other thing you mentioned about her in the beginning of the first episode, like she seems that she has changed a little bit. I thought that too. Like we were about 36 episodes or minutes in, and my wife was just like, I'm like irritated by this girl. Like she's, and I get like she's 19 and the angst and stuff like that. I think my issue with that is, teenage angst is a thing when you're like safe. You
Right. When
know,
you're in the first world.
when you're in the first world, you are in a fourth world country now. You're in a fourth world country where things are just like bleak. You got shit to do, bitch. Like you got when they say go on and do this, go pick up some stuff and take it to the store, go and chop some wood. Bitch, go do that. You don't get to be like, well, I'm a teenager and I'm like do you think that like people in Amish communities, like teenagers are just like when they're like, go milk a cow, they're like, I'm depressed today.
Screw
Like,
you, Dad.
like you don't have the luxury of having teenage angst. You live in a fourth world country. Teenage angst is for first world problems, you know. And so she was pretty annoying, pretty entitled. I don't understand that. It seems to be like a constant like problem
They
when
both
making
were.
strong female characters where it's just like
They both
if you
were
don't
super entitled.
yeah, you don't have to be unlikable. Like I can like you. It's okay. It's okay for me to like you. And so now we're in that bastard's dilemma that Jubal talked about. I don't care about anybody left.
Mm.
I guarantee, like I would say the person that I think is the coolest is probably Joel's brother. And my guess is that he's not going to be in the story a ton moving forward.
I
Again, I
want to
haven't
say
seen it.
just real quick before I don't want to give my opinion on anything, but goddamn, dude, did they do a good job casting his brother like
Mm.
visually? Like Tommy looks like he could be related
Yeah,
to Joel.
I like Tommy.
Sure.
It's a
Sure.
Now,
great
now I
cast.
would ask this
It's a
of
great
I would
cast.
ask this of the people who have watched it, which is Alex and Bueller. Is Tommy prominent going forward?
I'm waiting my turn.
Not a main character, but he does kind of, yeah, he's involved, but he's
He's
not.
pivotal.
He's not on an episode to episode basis.
Mm.
But yeah,
He's very important.
He's very
Yeah.
important. Okay, because I think he's the only person I care about right now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but that's just me. And again, I only saw the 2 episodes. It's just, yeah, I was kind of left with I I don't want to watch her whine.
Right. No, that's why I
Ah.
say, like, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for fucking your show up 2 episodes in instead of 10, right?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Who wants to go
Alex,
next?
go.
I want to hear from Joe first because I'm the
Okay.
only one that's played the games, so I think
Okay.
I might have
All
a
right.
little bit of other perspective too.
All right,
Okay.
Bueller, let's
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear
I
from
mean,
Joe.
okay, that's fair, Alex. I was gonna go last, but that's a very solid argument. Jubal, you're dumb. Eric, you are like so close to being right and also so wrong.
Mm.
Okay.
at
Okay.
the same time.
Interesting.
But like really, like you named off some things that like, yeah, that nailed it. You nailed it. But also no, you didn't nail it. God, there's so much to go over. As far as like the Amish thing goes, like the teenage angst things goes, yeah, this it's called Rumspringa, and they do that when they're 18, and some
Yeah,
of
but
them
they
don't
get to go away.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
do it
but
like
but
when they have chores.
That's the angst that's built up. So when Rumspringa happens, they go off, and some of them don't come back.
So this
because
is
that angst takes over.
Season 2 is Ellie's Rumspringa.
So it's it's her Rumspringa. No, don't get me wrong. Like Ellie, she annoys me a lot.
Mhm.
But and Alex will get into this more, but they stick very true to the game. Joel dying happened pretty early in the game, in part 2 of the game. And also Ellie having this angst and going off and doing her own thing. You got to realize she is the only person on the planet that we are aware of that is immune to this virus. So she's a superhero.
Okay,
And-
so hold on. So I agree with you, but that's what makes her a bitch. Because
I'm not arguing with that.
This is why she's a bitch. Because in that episode where they went into that place where they were by themselves, her and the other chick, she's going in knowing that she can be bit, scratched, whatever. She's gonna be fine. That other chick's got to be perfect, or she's dead. Dead. And so you are like, I don't need backup. I can go in there, bitch, because you're immune. This chick gets a scratch, and I have to put a bullet in her head. That makes you an asshole. Actually, you're actually an asshole.
And I'm not saying she's not an asshole, but you're questioning why she wants to go off on her own, because she is essentially invincible in this world.
Right,
So
right,
she
right.
doesn't have anything to worry about. And this other girl joining her wasn't her original plan either. She joined her and she's like, well, okay, cool. I'd
Yeah.
appreciate the company. That'd be awesome. But she is, for all intents and purposes, in this world, a superhero. She cannot die from this virus. She can't. Uh,
Right.
and so that kind of explains her motivations, and she wants to get revenge because she's 19 and can't see the big picture like Tommy can. Tommy he does stay back and try to rebuild the camp with I want to say is his name Danny. Help me out here, Alex.
Which guy? The Asian guy?
Asian guy.
Yeah, I do forget his name. Maybe
I
I'm
think
racist.
it's Danny. Maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. They all stay behind. There's a vote with the council to go and get revenge. They all vote against Ellie, and of course she goes against their wishes anyway. And the girl joins her, and now I forget her name too.
Yeah.
And
Nina
they
or
go
something
off.
like that. I don't know.
They go off on their own thing, and they go to seek revenge. We find out the wolves are way bigger than they anticipated, and the wolves are also at war with the Scars. And so they're walking into a civil war happening in Washington, which is like it's pretty like Jubal. Honestly, it's pretty good, dude.
Mm.
Even without Joel. And there's so many flashbacks with Joel. And I said in the last episode when we recap stuff, Pedro Pascal, if he didn't secure an Emmy with episode 7, then I don't know what to say, dude. Episode 7, Pedro Pascal was hands down phenomenal. Like just absolutely moving performance. Moving performance. And yes, Ellie annoys the shit out of me, but god damn it, episode 7 was just man, it was just amazing. It was just so goddamn
Okay,
good.
well, maybe you gave me some
Yeah,
like
I believe
motivation
you.
to watch it, because that's what I was when my son asked me, he said, "Are we gonna get back on it?" I'm like there's a part of me that wants to, but I was just like, it was tough to find the motivation because it's like I know what the next episode's gonna be, and I really don't want to see that. I'm just gonna be annoyed by it and stuff like that. But if what you're saying is true, and I tend to believe you, of course. Well,
That's I'm
maybe.
lying to you this whole time. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I tend to believe you
It's
just
all
gave
just
me an
a
accurate.
prank that he's playing
Yeah,
on
it's
you.
a
Right.
big old prank.
So-
It's like when we told Alex to watch
Stealth.
Stealth, and we're like, you gotta wait
Yeah.
till the end. It gets really good, and he's just
Really
like,
good.
Didn't even
He's
fall
like,
for
"Fuck you,
that
I know what
shit
you
for
guys
a
are doing."
second.
Fucking
He didn't fall for
Battlefield
it for a
Earth all over
second.
again.
Dude,
Yeah,
Battlefield
yeah.
Earth was good.
Like
Shut
for
up.
me, I'm the
So-
only one that's played the game, right?
Right.
Wait, well, hold on.
Okay.
I got to keep going here just for a second. I'm sorry. So there are some dumb subtext things that happen with Ellie and God, I can't remember her name at all.
Mhm.
The other girl, there's dumb shit that happens, very predictable. But Tommy does show back up, and Tommy does a really good job, very strong performance doing what he does. And the side plots with the Scars and the Wolves is pretty good. And then like not to spoil anything, but this follows the game very well, which Alex will get into. And fucking Abby also at the very end of the season, and spoilers, because that's what we're doing here, and it's not my fault you guys didn't finish it.
Hmm.
Abby fucking kills it in the last episode. The last episode is like, whatever. But when Abby shows up, she gives the performance of a fucking lifetime, dude. And so you're wondering if season 3 is going to get picked up. It's going to get picked up, and season 3 is going to be all about Abby. All about Abby.
No Ellie?
There'll be Ellie,
Hmm.
but it's going to be all about Abby. It's going to be her.
Okay.
ship.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like, without getting too spoilery, it's sort of like it's going to be the same time period from her perspective
Mhm.
as okay.
So what was your take on it, Alex?
So it's like I said, I'm the only one that's played both games, and it's sort of like Joe's right. It does follow the games pretty well, but there are some fairly kind of sizable changes as well that might make it more palatable for people who haven't played the game. Like the people were really divided on the second game too. And I talked to our buddy Gus, who is no longer with us on this podcast. He's not gonna watch the second season simply because
He's still
like,
alive. He's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got work.
He won't watch the second season simply because he's like, the first season to me was perfect. I don't need any more.
Mm.
It ended. It's a great ending. What else are you going to give me that's as good as that? And a lot of people felt that way with the game too. It's just like, where are you going to take this exactly after this? And so then when they killed Joel, it's just sort of like, so as far as the season goes, there are peaks and valleys, and there are high points and low points. For me personally, one of the biggest things that I couldn't get around was just like they tried to do kind of a double Game of Thrones maneuver where they kill off one of the main characters like in a really shocking, pivotal way, and then they take the person that you hate, which is Abby, and they sort of flesh her out a little bit, and they try to make it like a Jaime Lannister arc or the Hound, where it's like you hate them at first, but then over time you're kind of like, okay, maybe I don't hate you, and I kind of see where you're coming from, so I don't, it's like an interesting arc. But to me, they really failed at that second part, because the more the game went on, the more and more I disliked Abby just as a character. The more they flesh her out, the more I'm like, you're just a terrible, horrible person. Why am I supposed to root for you at all?
But just to
And
go back a little bit, the game creator came out recently in an interview and said, whether you like it or not, Abby is actually the hero of this story.
yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, a lot of people have had a lot of problems with what he said with the games and everything. I don't want to like get into it too much of like, because his name is Neil Druckmann, and there's been a whole bunch of like internet wars and stuff about things he does, things he said, how he took the second game and why, and political motivations, whatever, And it's just sort of like, if she's the hero, then you fucked up.
Right.
Now, they might change a lot for the show.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that statement at all.
Yeah.
She's the hero.
Because in the game, she's just a terrible, unlikable person, and they try to make her like flawed, by like fucking other people's husbands and shit. And it's just sort of like all you're doing is you're just fleshing her out and making her more and more unlikable. And I feel like when I played the game, I feel like you're trying to make her more relatable and like trying to open up her story. And then there's a whole thing with the scars, and she like helps somebody who needs help. Now I'm supposed to like her, and she really likes zebras and some crap. And I'm just like, you're not making me like this person. Now,
I got vacuuming to do.
And it's just sort of like, there's a hole in the story once they kill Joel.
Yeah.
And like, you can't fill it with anything that they do, that they give you. It's sort of like in Game of Thrones, they kill Eddard Stark, and it's like, wow, that's a huge shot, massive, right? Yeah. But it's like, and you're like, how does the story continue? And the story picks up afterwards, and you're like, okay, this does actually, make sense in the narrative that they created. Even with the Red Wedding, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, wow, what the fuck? Where do you go from here? And they build the story up, and it's kind of like, okay, there's still a story here. But now once you kill Joel,
right,
you sort of wreck this dynamic, and what you're filling it with is not nearly as compelling or as done as well, because it's sort of like what the first game and the first season had this sort of really, really interesting moral conversation about, with what Joel did right or wrong, is it the reasons that he did, blah, blah. Although I think in the show, they made it more obvious, like, Joel was wrong-ish, right? Like, you can understand killing people to save what amounts to your daughter. In the game, it felt sort of like he just killed the doctor and ran out and killed some people on the way out. So he, like, killed a bunch of people, but he's getting them out. Whereas in the show, he just, like, went Rambo, like, on 3 floors of this building and just massacred everybody, So it's sort of like, it's a little bit like the show.
And not just massacred everybody, but he also doomed the entire population, is what they really tried to hammer home in the show.
Yeah, but see, they didn't. Because like that's been one of the things with the cure too. But the cure, all the vaccine is going to do is save people who get bit and don't die. Those are the only people that are going to be safe. Like the world is already, doomed, basically. And people who get attacked by clickers overwhelmingly are killed anyway. And there's no vaccine for like having your face eaten off.
Right. There's no vaccine for being fucking dead.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. But even if like a small percentage of humanity can survive through this plague or whatever it is, then that's beneficial. But like if Ellie is literally, if she is literally the only cure out there, and we don't know that, there could be something else. But if she is literally the only cure out there, Joel fucked everybody by doing what he did. And I think that's what the show is trying to do by painting Abby as the good guy and Joel as the bad guy and Ellie as collateral damage here. That's how they're pushing the story forward.
What? Let me
But
ask you this.
my point is, the vaccine doesn't have the profound effect that I think people think it has in their mind, because it doesn't change the world.
Yeah,
It
it's not
doesn't
like they're
change
coming out
who's
with like an
alive now.
aerosol that they can just spray everywhere and then like clickers die and then
Right.
like, you know, everybody,
Yeah, maybe.
you know,
Right.
Because at
it's
this point, like
you know like in
most,
what was that movie where the Silent something with Emily Blunt and her husband where the things can hear
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah. Quiet
quiet
place.
place.
Quiet Place. Like when they found out that this is
Feedback.
how
The
yeah, that
frequency, that
yeah, exactly. Like that was considerable. You know, that led them to be able to kill some of these things, which before that they were not able to kill, like at
Mm.
all. You know,
Yeah,
this would
okay,
basically
but
be like, hey, if you don't get murdered by them jumping on you and eating your entrails, and all you do is get bit, you might
Got you
live.
covered. Got you
Got you
covered.
covered.
I think the
Right.
precedent the show is setting is with Ellie, who is immune, is less afraid to go into the situations. She hasn't had her face eaten off yet, and she's survived multiple bites and scratches. If you had an army of these people, then you have a chance to survive against this and fight back. I think that's what the show is trying to set as the ground rules for the vaccination.
My question is this: what is the show about? Because what I thought it was about Ellie and Joel, like I said, and a father and daughter in the apocalypse, right? That's what I thought the show was about.
Well, I mean, I could tell you, but I would be telling you everything that happened. And then,
Right,
I would tell
right.
Joe would find out, everything that happens in the
It's
next
just
season and everything.
it's
I
just a
mean,
bunch of stuff.
it does take on the mantle of, like, it is thematically about something else now,
Mm,
but it's just not, to me and a lot of other people, it's not as good,
mm,
right? And it's just sort of like, it's just really kind of, depressing now,
yeah,
the way it is. And it's just sort of like everything's dark and dreary. Like the first game and the first show. I mean, it's a very dark.
yeah.
It's a very.
Sure,
But there's
I
a
get
certain
that.
amount of, there's a certain
There's an
quality of
optimism,
hopefulness to it.
right?
Like I said.
There's an optimism that comes from, like in the first season, the episode with the two gay guys was like a perfect episode, right?
Yeah,
It
that
was
was nice.
it was
And
awesome.
in fairness, Joe's right. That episode was a 6 or 7 from this season. It's one of the better episodes they've had.
All right,
Between,
so
yeah.
but that was almost like a standalone episode. It was like a short story on its own,
Yeah, it
right?
was. Yeah.
It was just it was great. It was great. Um, and that's but you could do that in any kind of apocalyptic setting, right? That story wasn't necessarily part of the story of Last of Us. You know what I'm saying? So if that's what the show is going to break down into, is just a collection of scenarios that are happening in an apocalyptic environment. I mean, that's cool, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. But then it's just like a series of short stories. I thought this story was about Joel and Ellie, right? But it's clearly not, and so I feel kind of let down.
Yeah, I think basically, um, that's what Gus was thinking too, and it's actually probably a good thing that Gus doesn't watch it because he
Right.
did get his
Mhm.
his good show. I think Alex was asking me because I knew Joel was gonna die. And he's like, "Oh, someone spoiled it for you," and I was like, "Unfortunately, it got spoiled 2 years ago. Like even two
Mm,
years ago, during the first season, the season ended, and everybody was like, "Well, he dies in the beginning of the next game, so."
yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, okay.
I
So he's
had no
going to
idea.
die.
But even if I had known that he died in the game, I wouldn't have thought that they would have translated that into the show. Right?
Right,
I
right,
would have thought like, oh, well, they're going to change that because the show's popular. And if they
right.
kill him, the show is gonna shit the bed, right?
My thinking was that they were going to kill him, but they were going to kill him late.
Right.
I was actually surprised they killed him so soon.
Yeah.
But it's what's in the game, right? So
Mhm.
it makes sense.
All
Well,
right.
this is a really weird conundrum we're in here because we have a wildly successful game franchise turned into a wildly successful TV franchise, and we have disdain for it on half the podcast here because they actually stuck to the source material. And
Right, but that's because I
but,
think
but hold
sometimes
on.
the source
So
material
people
sucks.
people gave up on it. People gave up on it because it didn't live up to his expectations because he didn't follow the source material. So you gave up on it without seeing it through to the end, and you're like, nope, this sucks. I had an expectation of something that I didn't know anything about, but I'm gonna throw in the towel, even though I know nothing about it, because it didn't live up to my own narrative, which is not what it's supposed to do.
I mean, that's
Well,
true,
there's
but
all debate about that because, like I said,
what
the game was really, really divisive. Like there were a
right,
lot of people that
No,
were
I know
like,
that I
right,
know the game was divisive, but it's still the source material.
sure,
It
right.
still is where
Agreed,
it came
but
from.
that
but
doesn't mean it's good.
there's a difference between the story in a game and the story in a show, right? In a game, the main mechanism of entertainment is the interaction with the world, right? So you can have kind of a hokey story. You could play like Solid Snake and have like a really ridiculously dumb story and still enjoy the hell out of the game, right? But a show is all story. And so you told me that your story was about a father and a daughter in the apocalypse.
No,
And
he told
so,
you.
well,
He told you the
I'll
first
stop you
part of the
there and
story.
I'll just say that like the story in the game is really the reason that it was so popular. Like, I mean, more so than probably, maybe you can name another game like O2, like maybe 3 games where like the story is the selling point. The story and characters really is what makes people love the game, because like the gameplay and the mechanics, and both games are great. I mean, even in the second game,
Right,
which I
but
would ultimately,
doesn't that lend to why the second one was so divisive? Because you can still enjoy the gameplay of the game in the second
Well,
one, but
I
what
mean,
you're saying is a lot of people didn't enjoy the story of the second one,
right.
there's a
like they
lot of
enjoyed the
reasons
story of the
people
first one.
the story of the second one, and it doesn't all have to do with Joel dying. There's a lot of different reasons for it. What I'm saying is like you got the first part of a story, and because it didn't follow the narrative that you had in your head, you threw it in the trash essentially because it didn't go the way that you wanted it to. But that's the way that the author wanted it to go. Um, uh, I guess Lilo and Stitch is one that like we all know the source material of Lilo and Stitch, and then the live action came out and they completely shit on the entire animated movie that we
Did
all.
they? They changed it? I didn't
I
even
heard
know
they
that.
changed
Yeah,
the ending,
yeah.
but
Ohana doesn't mean family. Ohana means you give up your sister for adoption and move to America. Um, Spoiler. There you go.
mainland. You
With
moved to mainland.
move to the mainland. Yeah, sorry, move to the mainland. Yeah. And you get rid of the antagonist and you change so many characters in it and you just go ahead and shit on all of the source material. That's not okay. But you know what? Lilo and Stitch, this new one, it's not for me. That's okay. It wasn't my Lilo and Stitch. It's for a
Right.
new generation. That's all right. This show is trying to stick to the source material as much as possible. And that's why I think it's funny because to poo-poo it without seeing it through is it just kind of shows like, well,
You can not like source material. You can just be like,
you can,
nah, I don't like it.
yeah,
Like so. For example, a Fantastic Four is coming out, right?
Mhm.
And everybody, all the people who are trying to be like, look at me, I don't care that Silver Surfer is a female because in this one episode, like this one issue, there was a female Silver Surfer, so it's comic accurate.
well, that's not
One
a very good
issue,
analogy, though.
two issues. It's like I'm just saying that just because something is in a source material doesn't mean it's good.
No, and
And
so
so
let me respond real quick because I understand what you're saying, Joe. You're saying I should give it a chance because the rest of the season is good. The problem that I had was uh when Joel died, I reached out for other characters to latch onto. Like and I found that I didn't care about anybody else in the show,
that's fair.
right?
Yeah, that's
And I
fair.
was
yeah.
like, I don't. Ellie has turned into a giant raging bitch. This other chick is the most entitled person I've ever seen in my life. His brother is cool, but he's not going anywhere, right? So, what am I? Who am I watching
Yeah.
for? What am I
And
That's
watching
that's
that's
for?
fair too, and I would say part of the reason, like, 'cause I played the second game, and I was like, one of the reasons I kept playing was because I was still invested in Ellie as a character,
Hmm.
and I'm not really too invested in her character on this show that much. Like, for all the reasons that we can all bring them up and remark on them
Right,
again.
and
But
I
yeah,
don't.
she's unlikable, really.
I don't blame Bella Ramsey. I blame the directors. right? I blame the people who directed her and told her to act the way that she acted in the show.
The writing is not helping her
Right.
in this season, but she's also not right for the part
Right.
overall. I mean, she isn't. And it's like
I kind of felt the same way as Jubal because I like the Asian guy. I like Joel's brother.
Yeah.
But I also feel like in 6 hours left of footage, they're gonna be on screen to combine 25 minutes.
Right.
Like the rest of the 6 hours.
The whole rest of the
Not
season
wrong.
is going to be the battle of the two chicks that I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like,
Well,
That's what it felt like. That's what it feels like.
Abby's not even really in the scene.
okay, so whatever. Well, whatever. Maybe someday I'll check it out.
Dude, honestly, I did like the Asian guy. I like the Asian guy when he came to the door and he was like, she's like, she's like, she kissed me and everything. And he was like messing with her. I thought he was fun.
He's really good when he does show up in the remainder of the season. I don't know how many episodes he's in, but when he does show up, he's solid, dude. His character's
I like that guy.
I'll say this too. Like I don't know how I didn't know that this was happening, but Jeffrey Wright shows up in it, and
okay,
he's pretty awesome. I mean, he's a pretty kind of a baddish guy, but and he's of course Jeffrey Wright. He's awesome. So
you guys saw
Tommy. The other thing is Tommy's wife. Tommy's wife is a strong woman. She's not a raging asshole,
right?
You know what I mean? It's like it's possible to do, guys. Like her and Tommy have like the weight of. Basically probably 40% of that state's human population is like in those walls, and they have to protect it. And, I don't know. Just, like stop making unlikable, like female action heroes. It's okay to like them. It's okay to be like funny or likable or have character, like your character flaw shouldn't be that you're like just your base setting is rude to everybody. Your character flaw could be that I don't know, it could be 100 things, but just why is it always like you're rude to everybody all the time? And because I'm gonna probably end up watching Ironheart. I got $5 that says the whole first 2 episodes, that's what she's going to be. She's going to be rude to like everybody she comes in contact with. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand that,
Yeah, I agree. Ellie is pretty insufferable. But I think Alex and I are in agreement that like the supporting characters around him like make the show enjoyable throughout the season.
So that's good to know because I do think personally, like we were talking about, I thought that moving forward it was going to be Ellie and that chick like 90% of the time. A lot of it, like their crazy adventures and stuff like that. A lot of
it is, but like when you see the scars and the wolves and everything else, like there's some really good scenes. There's some really good dialogue and sequences that happen that are just like it's fun to watch, man. And let me just say this: if Pedro Pascal wins an Emmy for episode 6 or 7, whichever one it was, like Alex said, I'm not sure anymore if it was 6 or 7. If he wins an Emmy for that episode, I would say, based on that, I challenge you guys to just finish that season because it's just that episode is so fucking good, dude. It's so good.
No, I mean, if you say it's worth watching, that's definitely a reason to keep watching it.
Yeah,
but you can't.
That's what I was looking for was a reason to keep watching.
But you can't just watch that episode. You can't just be like,
okay, yeah.
Fair enough.
But I was looking for a reason to, because I told my son, I was like, this is what the next episode I think is going to be. And he was just like, I kind of think you're right.
You were pretty dead on. Like, 75%.
But what you're telling me is that it's not just going to be, Ellie and her girlfriend, and then like, I am going to see a little bit of Tommy. I am going to see a little Asian guy. I'm going to see some of Tommy's wife. I'm going to see other things.
And you're going to see some absolutely dumb shit that's going to make you roll your eyes without question.
Okay.
Without question.
That's almost always the case. All right, well, there we go. That's our review of season 2 of Last of Us, and I think next week we got a bunch of trailers to watch, right?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
gonna do next
I
week.
think so.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Catch you next time.